Our whole life tends to an excellence, to happiness. Getting there requires the development of a myriad of virtues, of friendships, and the long search for wisdom. But, crowning all these efforts, an inexorable death follows. Furthermore, multiple handicaps, suffering, sicknesses, frustrations foretell this fatal failure, so that living can be defined slowly dying. To pretend ourselves happy always comes to dwarfing the plenitude to which we are called. Which meaning does assume death in human nature's project? Every choice, every action mirrors an answer to that enigma. The majority reaction sees their pure absurdity, as shows the unbridled quest for richness, pleasure, affection. Carpe diem, because tomorrow you will die. The feverish thirst of games bears witness to the same answer, killing time until it kills us. The majority answer finds a new illustration in the growing fashion of euthanasia, of assisted death, ridiculously labeled death in dignity. Socrates reacts otherwise. For him, the perspective of death destroys in advance the illusions which tie us to material commodities, to superficial honors. The best of us, he declares, our soul, our intelligence is immortal and calls us to another life, imperishable, of high wisdom, of contemplation of the most perfect being. To whom is afraid of death, Socrates insists, death inspires every abdication, every immorality, until suicide. However, it simply reminds that the life to come is better, that here below life simply offers a springboard for it. Wisdom, Socrates explains, this substance of human happiness, gives itself to whom appears to prefer death, because getting to wisdom presupposes losing interest for sensible pleasures, for material commodities. Wisdom demands to eat, drink, use sex the least possible in order to vow oneself most completely to spiritual life. It demands to take care of the body only as an instrument of the soul. Who lives in such way, Socrates admits, seems to others already dead. He gives the impression not to know how to live. Socrates, on his side, is convinced that aiming to happiness, favoring intelligence, is already much like dying. So much that he defines philosophy as a practice of death, for he sees death as the lobby to eternal life. We would need, commends Simmias, his disciple, a divine revelation which would describe this other life and explain how to prepare for it. The Christian possesses such a revelation which answers to our natural aspiration to live always. It's the good news of our resurrection, made possible by Jesus Christ's passion and resurrection. When we revive, our soul will have again and for always our body at its disposal. Only this perspective of an eternal life gives meaning to a life where one dies and saves from an absurd and painful daily survival awaiting a definitive annihilation.